Hi everyone, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, here to give you a late November Foodscape tour. A lot has happened in the last few weeks in the garden. In fact, I've gotten the wave replanted and I'm excited to do a renovation on this other side of the wave so that this will once again be one solid mass of grains. This year I'm doing a combination of barley, larkspur, and formal double poppies from Baker Creek heirloom seed. I'm really excited to see how this will all grow out and look in the spring. The front property shrub border has looked great all season. This is planted to be a zero maintenance zone, meaning no water, no fertilizer, no mulch, no nothing. And it's totally living up to its expectations. My favorite plant in here is this columnar quercus. This is an oak called Quercus warrii long. And it's just an extraordinary plant. It's been in the ground for 10 years and I've never done any pruning on it. So if you need a plant for a tight spot, that is the one for you. Another low maintenance shrub border that does need some weeding, because I can see I've got some weedy trees germinating in here. But looks great. All the Calicarpa, specifically this Japanese variety, Shikokianum heavyberry, looks awesome, as does Calicarpa acuminata. This is the Mexican beautyberry. I love these varieties because they hold their berries a lot longer. You can see my American beautyberries have already lost their leaves and their berries. So having these other species really provides an extension of interest for that particular plant, the beautyberry. I've posted a bunch of videos on getting this bed replanted and I think it's gonna look great. It was just done a few days ago, so I suspect a week from now I'll start to see seed germination. The first thing to germinate always is the grains, and there are a bunch of clumps of barley in here. I did this side of the sidewalk about 2 weeks earlier, and you can see that is a clump of barley that's germinated in place and will look awesome through the winter, combined with things like mustard and violas, broccoli, cauliflower, and of course my signature edge of garlic to keep the voles from eating the roots of everything in this bed. I have some work to do in here. You can see I have a bit of a weed infestation with a lamium, and I'm actually planning to make a sort of U walkway that goes behind that Japanese maple and that amazing lindera. So this will be a project I hope to get to in the coming days. I want to show you though this lindera. So I learned this as Lindera angustifolia variety salicifolia, but I think it's had a name change. And I just did a profile on Instagram about this, but I'm totally blanking on the new botanical name. But you can see this is one of those plants that just looks like it's on fire. It's so beautiful. And it's tardily deciduous, which means it doesn't drop its foliage. So it holds on and the leaves turn this sort of tawny brown color and persists through the winter until new foliage comes out from that growth tip. So this will actually hold on to its brown foliage all winter, and it looks great when the wind blows. It just kind of shakes. It's awesome. The Phlox Veniculata, you can see, has quite a lot of mildew at this point. I'll be coming in with a push mower and just mowing all this mass down so that this corner will look neat and tidy and, you know, read is organized. North side of the house doesn't have a lot going on. It definitely could use some maintenance. I've been really busy all of a sudden because I've been helping at my friend's magnolia farm called Weston Farms, and so it's always like a crunch to try and manage my time well between the garden, working on the computer, and going over to her workshop and helping make Christmas decorations. One of the stars for the winter season is this variegated alstroemeria, And I really love to use this in floating flower arrangements because it holds up for a really long time. And I transplanted some of the bananas that used to grow out front to the back of this bed at my fire pit. And I think it's gonna look really cool next year when these grow out. But more importantly, I wanted to show you the amazing ground cover in here, which is all self-sown arugula and Daikon radish. So this is the arugula, which is super delicious in salads, but deer, rabbits, and groundhogs don't like the flavor. And then this is the Daikon radish. And you can see here, I'll yank one out, they get to be enormous. So they often call this, you know, like a clay buster. And you can see why, because the root is so big and it just breaks up the soil. And it's delicious. So, you know, I highly recommend eating these. You can eat them raw. I really like them roasted. So I'm totally going to bring that inside and eat tonight for dinner. But what I really love is just how this combination of plants creates this ground cover for me, and it's all edible. You know, I'm never not going to be able to eat a salad this winter because all of this is here. And I sowed this about 4 years ago, one time. And I just allow the arugula to go to seed every year and it self-sows. And that's really the magic of this process of growing from seed. I got this border reseeded 2 weeks ago, and I'm super psyched to see all these poppies germinating. So you see these tiny little greens? Those are poppies. That's what the poppies look like when they germinate. So this is going to be a really amazing colorful border in the spring. Same over here, where you can see how fast the garlic grows at this season. And again, just mass ground covers of poppies along this border. I do this in part to help stabilize the soil. You see, this is a slope going down to the garage, and the poppies, when they germinate in place, will really help keep that soil where it is instead of allowing it to run down into the woods. I've gotten my root pouches replanted again with another round of broccoli, and I've one pepper plant that's still holding on. You can see a little microclimate adjacent to this greenhouse. But we have a major temperature shift coming, a big rainstorm coming tomorrow, followed by temperatures in the mid-20s. So I suspect that any of the summer stuff that's holding on will quickly die to the ground. Show you the feed tank bed, which is growing out really well. You could tell how dry, or not how dry, but how we haven't had a lot of rain by the depth of the water in here. I need to get in and vacuum this and add a little bit of chlorine just to make sure that the water doesn't turn green on me. Now this bed here I got done maybe like a week and a half ago, and I transplanted this garlic, which is why it looks so wilty, but it's starting to get a little more vigor. But more importantly is all of this barley that's germinating, and that is going to look super cool all winter, just like an ornamental grass in this feed tank bed. Got my rice pots turned over so I can hopefully get those pulled out, put those pots away for the winter. And then the bed that I haven't gotten anything accomplished in. And I just need, you know, a solid block of a couple hours to come in and clean it out. But there's already a lot going on that's good. It just looks a little chaotic. I've still got some broccoli coming. There's a self-sown oat plant. See how elegant those seed heads are. An edge of cabbage coming. And all of that is various varieties of carrots. And I'm going to allow those to grow through the winter season because I like to let those bloom. But you can see in here I still have summer stuff to knock out. Like there's some sorghum and there's some sesame still and a tomato cage that needs to come out. And I need to cut this papyrus down. And then over here I have a huge weed infestation. So this is what happens when you don't keep up with weeding and you let a few plants go to seed and then poof. So my job in the next day or so, and maybe today, is going to be to clean out this border, because I don't want to allow this like wild geranium, chickweed, and this lamium. Let's see, here's the geranium, the lamium. Oh, this is that sticky weed, that Velcro weed. It's just awful. So I am probably gonna try and tackle this by hand, but I may actually have to come in with an herbicide and treat this just to make sure that it doesn't strangle out all the things that I want to grow here. I'm planning to do a cover crop of oats and peas combined with poppies and larkspur so that it'll look cool through this spring. But I have a lot of work to do to fix this border. And here's what the Daikon radish looks like when it's in bloom. And I think it's so great to just let these things flower, self-sow, kind of succession plant themselves. That way you always have something to harvest. Now here looks like an enormous one. Oh my gosh. Let's pull it. Oh, holy smokes. That may be one of the largest Daikon radishes that I have ever grown. That is enough to feed a small family for a meal. So that's a pretty cool score. I hope you enjoyed this late November Foodscape tour. You can see I've made progress, but I still have a lot more to do. And that's really the joy of gardening. It keeps me engaged, it keeps me active. I'm constantly dreaming about the next season, and therefore I have something to look forward to. So I wish you all the best. Grow some Daikon radish if you want to have enormous vegetables. And enjoy this last part of November. And happy holidays, everyone.